Hi everyone! Today I will be flipping through the month of February and I will also be planning and setting up the month of March. I'll also go ahead and just share with you what worked and what didn't work now that it has been pretty much a full 2 months in my common planner. So I hope you enjoy the video and let's go ahead and jump right in. So I'll actually flip through the month of February first before I go in and set up the month of March. As you can see, February is not quite over yet. This is actually the last week of February as I'm recording this on Monday the 24th. So I do just have a few more days left of February to fill out, but as you can see, the majority of the yearly tracker for the month of February has been filled in so far. Just as a refresher, I am using the yearly tracker as kind of like a health log. So on the top line, then I've been writing down what the workout or kind of like the strenuous activity that I've done for the day. And then below that, then I will go ahead and write down my weight for that day. And then the red boxes here on the side just indicated the days that I was actively on my period. So far, I've been finding that this spread has been very helpful for me to just get a quick glance of my workouts, my weight, as well as my cycles. So I have absolutely no complaints, nothing that I would like to change about this spread here. As for the next page, this here is for quarter 1, as well as this side, which I have been using for my habit trackers. So as you can see, I did go ahead and write down just a couple of ideas that I wanted to mark down for priorities for March, which I will go ahead and write them down later in the video. For the most part, the priorities are about the same as they have been health-wise. There are just a couple of things that I wanted to go ahead and keep in mind for the month of March since they are specifically happening during that month. And then over here for the habits, I feel like overall I have been doing a better job at keeping up with my habits for the month of February compared to January. I think overall I've been doing a little bit better at waking up at 7 a.m. compared to January when I had 6:30 a.m. written down. There aren't as many blank spaces in February compared to January, so that is very good to see. So what I would like to do for March is just carry on with the same habits and hopefully be able to fill in even more of them for that month. And as for my February monthly page, I think the only extra decoration that I added was this envelope sticker. I recently found this in my sticker collection when I was looking through it, and I thought that it would just match with the February theme that I had been doing. So I just went ahead and pasted it down here. I thought that that was the perfect spot for it. Otherwise, just a lot of planning and writing down of my video schedules and then just any more important dates. I wrote down the to-do list down here, which again was something that I started doing kind of like the middle of January, and it's just been something very nice and helpful that I've been referring back to quite often, regardless of if I'm on my monthly spread or in my weekly spreads, which I will show you in a moment. I just have a couple of expense trackers covered up here under some craft sticky notes, and then just jotted down some information about an upcoming surgery for one of my cats. So I didn't want to forget about that. But yeah, in terms of my monthly spread, I wouldn't necessarily change anything about this. I thought that it worked out very well. When I was setting up February, then I had mentioned that for January, I left a lot of blank space and I didn't decorate it very much just because I wasn't sure how much of that space I would actually use. So I did go ahead and decorate quite a bit more for the month of February, and I thought that that worked out well. I didn't find that I needed any more space than what I used down here and on the sidebar here. So I'd say that for the month of March, I'd probably do just about the same amount of decoration and leave a similar amount of space to jot down any notes or to-dos. Now to flip through the weekly spreads. As you can see, for the first couple of days, I was still going pretty strong on the way that I was using stickers to decorate my weeks prior. However, as you can see, for the rest of that week, I was unfortunately feeling pretty burnt out from all of the sticker usage. So I decided to just go pretty minimal with the decorations and just focused more on actual writing down of tasks or even a little bit of journaling, which you can see that I did here for Friday the 7th. And I basically carried this on into the second week as well. The only sticker I used was for the date night that we had, and then I just used a couple of stamps here for Sunday. So this was definitely kind of more of an experimental week for me. I wanted to see if I was perfectly fine with mainly just focusing on writing and not so much on the decorating. But as you can see for this third week here, then I did pretty much go back to adding stickers. I do really love and enjoy the visual element that the stickers provide, as well as I even started just doodling right onto the page. So using my black Uni-Ball Signo DX gel pen, then I would just doodle while I was writing down my tasks, and I felt like that just added a very nice visual touch to my daily routine. So I think that's something that I would like to incorporate more moving forward, is not necessarily having to always paste in stickers, but just having the combination of pasting in stickers as well as just doodling right onto the page, I think would suffice. So here is how the current week looks. This is kind of how it looks when I first set it up the week prior. I usually like to set it up like up to a week early, just because I'm usually already thinking about the following week and trying to make plans for it. So I don't really have much written down for today just yet. I did go ahead and fill in like my habits and the yearly tracker for today, but I haven't had a chance to come in on Monday the 24th to start filling in my morning. So I think I will go ahead and do that later after I film this video. And last but not least, the final portion of the February flip through would be the daily pages in the back. So as you can see, the first day that I wrote in February was on Sunday the 2nd. So I just have a journal entry here. And for this page, this was when I was starting to feel that burnout from using all of the different stickers. And I basically just wanted to visualize how a week would look if I didn't use stickers and I just wrote everything. So as you can see, I didn't end up finishing it because I actually just went ahead and implemented it into my actual weekly spread. And I personally didn't mind how it looked, and I think that it's completely reasonable for weeks where I'm feeling burnt out and I don't necessarily want to fuss around with stickers, or if I'm really busy and I, again, just don't have the time to worry about adding in stickers, then I think that this setup does work. But like I mentioned, I do tend to prefer kind of that visual element in with my weeks. For this week, I was trialing out how I could potentially use the Hobonichi Techo original daily layout to do like my planning, because there was a while where I was considering possibly having the Hobonichi Techo original as my daily carry and pretty much my only planner for next year. I know I'm already planning for next year, which is crazy since it's only February, but I just drew out a spread and I just wanted to write out my schedule and see how I could potentially utilize this time schedule on the side here, and how I could potentially use kind of like these boxes up here to write down priorities or important tasks that need to get done that day, and then possibly use this side of the page as like a journal entry. For those of you who are unfamiliar, that the Hobonichi Techo original comes in like an A6 size, so it's slightly smaller than the B6, and for a while I was kind of contemplating if I wanted to try something even smaller than a B6 for next year. So I think for now, ultimately, I've decided that I will not get a Hobonichi Techo original for next year. Personally, I think I just prefer being able to see the entire week on one spread rather than just 2 days. Here then I just have another journal entry. This was when I was filming the new Uni-Ball 1 metallic gel pens that recently came out. And then here I was just doing kind of like some brainstorming for the stickers video that came out last week. Just some more journal entries here. Here then I was brainstorming some pen pal ATC ideas for my sister. And then here, then I decided to take some notes on a recent video from writer Carol. If you are unfamiliar with him, then he is the creator and founder of the bullet journaling system. So he recently came out with a video about his rapid logging system, and I just took down some notes from it because I thought that it was very interesting And again, this was kind of the point in the month where I was feeling kind of unsure about what I was even doing in this planner, and it was when I was feeling burnt out from relying so much on the stickers that I was wondering, am I actually even doing any planning? So I was kind of having like some sort of planning crisis, if you will. So here I just have another journal entry. I just drew my two lovely cats, Homer and Dion. And this was my first time like actually drawing something out like in pencil on this paper, and I absolutely loved it. It just felt so smooth and so luxurious, and the graphite just went onto the paper very beautifully. And another nice thing that I discovered was that it doesn't really like rub off easily or smear on the page, which was something that I was very worried about just with how smooth the paper is. But I was very pleased to find that it would not smear, and then it also doesn't really come off onto the other page either when you write on the back side of the pages. So I found that to be very nice. Here then I just drew kind of like a little portrait. And then here I wanted to just take down some notes on how to breed all of the colors of the flowers in Animal Crossing. For those of you who have been following me recently, you may know that I finally got Animal Crossing like in the middle of December. So I've been really enjoying it, and I've been making so much progress on my island. So I'm at the point where I want to be able to get all of the fruits and all of the flowers. So I just wrote this down so that I could reference it while I'm playing the game. And speaking of Animal Crossing, I'm not sure how well you can even see it just because I sketched it out very lightly with pencil, but here was kind of like the new plan for my island. So I am currently in the process of redoing my entire island. I'm moving everything around. Everyone is moving to a different spot on the island, and I'm basically just terraforming everything so that it can make a little bit more sense compared to what it was before. So I wanted to just sketch out the ideal island and mark down where everything should go, where everyone should live, and then kind of mark out like where the river would go and where like the waterfalls would be. This is just a loose idea that I wanted to sketch out one morning. Here then I just have more journal entries. As you can see, I don't journal every single day. However, I find that when I do journal, which would probably be like every couple of days, I typically use like a few pages at a time. So I personally don't have a problem with not journaling every single day, especially in my common planner. I do journal every day in my Hobonichi Hon as well as my Midori 10-year diary. So I'm not as hard on myself when I skip days in my common planner. However, I do still like to do long form journaling in my common planner just because those other two journals for the Hobonichi Hon, that one is specifically just 1 page per day, and the Midori 10-year, that one is probably only like 3 or 4 lines a day. So anytime I want to really long form journal, and when I have the time to, then that's when I come into my common planner and do that. So anyway, moving on, I just drew this little scene from Tangled. I absolutely love this movie, and I really look forward to watching it again soon. Here then I just have more journal entries. And then here, this is kind of my tentative plan for next year. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm possibly considering combining what I've been doing so far this year with what I had been doing in previous years. I don't know, we'll see. Let me know if you are interested in hearing more about my potential planning process for next year. This is where I sketched out what I could potentially do for like the yearly overview for next year. Again, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but I basically just wrote out all of the months for next year in pencil. Then again, just a little bit more journaling. And here is the last entry that I've done so far for February. So that is it for the daily pages. Let's go ahead and start setting up the month of March. Alright, so coming back to this page, I'll go ahead and just copy everything down that was on this post-it note onto the actual paper behind it. And I'll also go ahead and fill in my habits for the month of March. Alright, so now that that's done, I'll just quickly go ahead and share with you my priorities for March. So the first one that I have down is to sell our old car. As some of you guys may be familiar, we recently bought a new car, and so we are trying to figure out what to do with the old one. Second would be to go for a walk once a week, just because it feels like the weather is finally starting to get a little bit nicer again for this upcoming week than it is no longer in the negative double digits, which is great to see. I would like to continue with the intermittent fasting, continue exercising for 30 minutes 5 days a week. I would like to not spend any money on stationery for the month of March. I feel like I've been getting a little bit better about that since the start of the year for sure, but to be even more strict about it, then I would like to just not spend any money on stationery. I will need to reach out to the bad guys again, and then I will also want to make sure that I keep a close eye on Dion after his surgery. So those are my priorities for March, and again for March I just have the same habits that I had for February, so just to make sure that I do a workout, do my morning routine, wake up at 7 a.m., do a daily devotion, take my vitamins, journal, no spending, and my night routine. Moving on to the monthly spread, I do have just a couple of little sticky notes here just as reminders of appointments that I have this month. And I think what I will go ahead and do is perhaps just add some decorations first, go in and fill out the appointments, events, bills, birthdays, etc. in the boxes, and then I will come back and go over it with you. Alright, here is my March monthly spread with some decorations as well as my plans written in. As you can see, I am kind of going for this bird and butterfly theme for this month. I am just really eager for spring, which reminds me I should probably write down the first day of spring, which I believe should be at some point this month. Alright, so now that I've written that down, then this is all that I have planned for March so far. As always, I'll go ahead and add more events and appointments as they come up, but here is what I have so far for the month of March. I just went ahead and wrote down all of the bills that will be coming out for the month. I wrote down some birthdays and added my own stickers that I created in my last video, which I will go ahead and link right here if you are curious on how I made those. I left a little section over here for any expense tracking or any additional notes that I would like to jot down during the month. I added my to-do list down here and just wrote down a couple of to-dos, kind of relating back to the priorities that I wrote earlier. But yeah, that's basically it for the monthly spread. I don't have too much else to say about it. These were just stickers that I already had in my collection. I believe they're either from journalsay.com or amazon.com, but it's just a variety of bird stickers as well as some butterfly ones. And then I just took my gold Uni-Ball 1 metallic gel pen and added a couple of little sparkles and dots just to add a little bit more visual interest. So that's it for the monthly spread. Let's go ahead and just quickly set up the weekly spread. Those typically don't take too long, so I would imagine that that one will be pretty quick. So as I was decorating my monthly spread, then I wanted to go ahead and include this sticker somehow. So I went ahead and just pasted it into this first weekly spread. Hopefully I won't end up regretting putting the sticker down here, but I will go ahead and just try my best to work around it if needed. So as per usual, then I typically like to go in first and block off my work schedule. So to do that, then I'm just taking my little ruler here as well as a Sakura Pigma Micron in the 01 size. So now that I've blocked off my work schedule, I'll go ahead and block off the social obligations that I have every week, which would be my talks with my sister on Tuesday nights, game nights on Wednesday nights, and then date nights on Friday nights. Now, I typically don't finish off the bracket at the bottom for the social obligations just because I allow those to take as long as they need to, so I typically just leave it open indefinitely. And then once I'm actually done with the social obligation, then I can always come back and just close off the bracket at whatever time they actually ended. So now I'm just going to add a few stickers to this spread. So starting off with one of these cell phone stickers, I'll go ahead and just place it here for Tuesday evening, and then I will go ahead and come back and hand letter the activity that will be happening. I decided not to make stickers for game night just because I typically like to come back like either after we're done playing games or the following day, and then I'll draw a sticker that's very specific to something that we did or saw during game night. So we've been playing Stardew Valley, so for example, the most recent sticker that I made was when I saw a portrait of Elliot, who is my husband in the game, and I just thought it was so adorable, and so I wanted to go ahead and draw that out and paste it in. And then another example would be when we had the Stardew Valley Fair in the game, and so we went there and we were all trying to win money at this wheel here, so I wanted to go ahead and draw that out so that I could specifically remember what we accomplished that day. And then as for date night, then I have these stickers of me and my husband that I like to just include to give it just a little bit more visual interest and indicate that that will be our time together. So now that those stickers have been pasted in, I'm just taking my Tombow Fudenosuke, and then I'm just going to add a little header next to these stickers. So now that that's done, I'll go ahead and flip back over to the monthly spread to see what else is happening this week. So on the 4th, then I will have a bill that's due. The 5th, then I will have an appointment, and then on the 9th, I will have another bill. So I will go ahead and copy those down onto my weekly spread. So just as a refresher for those of you who may be new here, I like to write down my bills or any major priorities on the top here, and then things like appointments or meetings that I have that happen at specific times during the week, then I'll go ahead and just draw a little dash out around that time and just indicate what will be happening. So at this point, I'll go ahead and just jot down a couple things that I need to prioritize for the work week. Alright, so those are my work priorities for the week as of right now. One other thing that I would like to do is just write down my to-do header on the side here. And again, I'll just take my Tombow Fudenosuke to write that header down. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for setting up my weekly spread for the first week in March. As I get later into this last week of February and over the weekend, I'll go ahead and come back and add some to-dos. Along the side here, I'll select my color of the week to indicate my intermittent fasting hours and just write out some more specific to-dos for each day and write down any additional plans. So yeah, that is it for my February flip through and what worked and what didn't work, as well as my setup for March. So I really hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know how your planning routine has been going so far for 2025, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.